So you're getting into trading, you are looking at getting into trading, or you already are trading, but you are not profitable and you don't know how. Now the question arises, how do people get through it? How do professionals trade? What is the professional and profitable traders' secrets? And if you're wondering about all this, this show is for you. Now, if you don't know me, my name is 𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗦. I have a daily show on Banter, and I am a professional and profitable trader. I share with you all my alpha on my X account and on my daily shows on Banter. But I thought I'm going to join and I'm going to talk to Adrian from the Birb Nest, his crypto Birb, who's been a profitable trader for quite some time as well, has a very good name in the industry. And I asked you guys what you want to know from us, profitable traders. So I tweeted this and I asked, what do you guys want to know from us? And from these questions, the questions that you have submitted, we put this interview together. So I hope you are going to enjoy it. If you like this show, please smash and obliterate the like button. Leave us a comment below on what you thought. Share it with your friends who are becoming profitable or want to become profitable. Adrian is here in the background. Let's get going. Adrian, my friend, welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's awesome. Awesome to be here, bro.
It's so good having you, man. It was amazing meeting you in Dubai, and then it was amazing chatting to you on your seminar. And I thought it would be an incredible opportunity to just come here and discuss, because a lot of people are going to get into trading. A lot of people are going to get wrecked. And hopefully we can help a lot of people not get wrecked and actually make money in trading. And since you've been in the place as well for a long time, you're the perfect guy to talk to. So if you could just introduce yourself in two, 3, 4, 5 sentences so people know who you are, what you do in terms of trading as well, that would be amazing. And then we just jump right in.
By all means. My name is 𝗙𝗘𝗙𝗙𝗪𝗙. I'm a CMT, that is a charter market technician. This is an official kind of like an old school Wall Street type of a grade accreditation, parallel to CFA, and strictly focusing on the market timing using the price action, volatility, volume, momentum, breadth analysis, and so on. I'm a professional trader. It will soon have been the 9th year that I'm actually doing it full time. Run a Web3 accelerator for early Web3 projects, basically .com to seek for the acceleration on the go-to-market on the funding side. Advice to the Ministry of Finance, to celebrities, to high net worths, to VIPs. Try to make them aware of all the educational points, basically advantages of Bitcoin at all, right? How it all changes, the financial system as we know it, of course, with Donald Trump and all the legends, joining on the bandwagon. It's unstoppable these days. And in 2017, I started the Birb Nest, as a part of my trade journaling, and it's escalated to be one of the largest communities in Europe.
Incredible. When did you start trading? When you were like, when was the first time when you're like, I'm going to start trading now?
Yeah, so the first trades and the first kind of like financial currency trades that I did were in 2015, when I was running a little bit of an e-commerce store, and I was exchanging some products. And of course, I noticed that the currency fluctuations, were just too significant to ignore them. So there were a lot of changes on the euro, on the dollar, on the Polish currency, the Polish zloty, and at the same time, it wasn't really kind of like a full-time currency and financial markets and engagement and interest until I fully graduated from my first studies, the Polytechnics. That was the chemical technology, which is only when I had the time in the window between finishing the Masters of Engineering on that side in 2017 early, and before I started another master in the financial degree. And that was basically full-time engagement, going all in the crypto mode. It was April 2017.
Crypto, yeah. Oh yeah, 2017. So why trading for you? Why trading? How did this whole thing come about?
Got you, man. So TLDR is that because I had money for it, because I had accumulated some savings, basically that I could do it. I had some precedents in my family for instance, my grandfather, trading Bitcoin in 2012 or so. He used to be a day trader. He used to be betting constantly on the football matches and on the horse rides and so on. However, he wasn't necessarily the most successful in it, so he didn't necessarily set the best precedence and example for it. Still, from the very early days, kind of like I was aware of tradings and those kind of like fairly, black screens and all those different white lines ticking, the tickers changing and so on. That's the kind of like a childhood memory, although I didn't, like I said, fully occupy myself with that until 17, so it's taken a while. But what it gave a little bit of a fresh new thing that I never tried before on this scale, right? Because crypto was fairly moving like nothing else. It was fast, way faster rotating markets. The action was happening is so much faster than other traditional markets and currencies. Regular foreign currencies, FX, basically market was boring as hell. So it gave me an answer to a little bit of the a little bit of an opportunity, as in, I got in, I made a lot of money, I lost a lot of money, then I made more money, then I lost more money. And I started kind of like understanding and noticing and recognizing some patterns, some repetitive situations, that basically led me to wins and losses. And I started kind of like getting deeper and deeper understanding about, how it all works, all the mechanisms. And John Murphy's technical analysis of financial markets, that the holy Bible, quote unquote, for all those kind of like technical analysts and those people who aspire to be market technicians. This is exactly what gave me a good start. And ever since then, I've propagated on the educational side, read thousands of books, basically got the, like I said, actual degree in the financial market analysis. That is the only title in my country. So proficiency is in the knowledge, and I could keep up learning all the time.
Look, we're gonna have a lot of questions we want to discuss, but I just want to know, because I think this is the most interesting thing a trader can answer to. What was your journey to profitability? How did you become profitable? How long did it take? How difficult it was? What was the lowest point? Did you ever want to quit?
Oh man, it was a lot of downs on the way. There were a lot of downs on the way. The journey, like I said, started in 17. I made a lot of money, lost a lot of money. So I went through all of those kind of like a grief cycle, and, first denial, then trying to, of course, get back at the losses, try to make up for them, recover fast, and then put on the leverage, blow up a couple of accounts like that. So I tried to stay away from the leverage. It didn't really ever pay off. I mean, even if I did, multiple faults as in 10x on the leverage account on the futures, the perps, I would always ultimately blow it up. So that doesn't necessarily give me the most optimistic outlook to it. And most of that, I think if you compare it to the realm of the technical analysis, it's about making higher highs and higher lows all the time, right? So that this 200-day, for instance, moving average or whatever long-term kind of like a curve, the learning curve keeps going up, and that's it. I mean, there have been a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of failures, a lot of accounts blown, a lot of mistakes, a lot of shortcomings. And ultimately, we are here. Bitcoin is over $707,000. So
It's weird to say. It's weird to say 107,000. I was literally thinking, like, if you're a day trader and you're trading lower time frames, you're setting a stop loss above 100,000. A stop loss on a long. Yeah. I was literally just looking at it today. I'm like, if you take a scalp trade here, you're setting your stop loss at like $105,000, which is absolutely insane. All right, we've got some questions here that I would like us to discuss. And I want to jump in them because I think it's important. The community asked, so we tweeted about it, and the community could ask questions. Here are some of the most notable questions. How much money do you recommend starting for a first-time trader, and is it true that you need a lot of money to make a lot of money?
Well, it's true that you need. It's true that it's simpler to make a lot of money with a lot of money, right? Because this money gains are asymmetric, as in 10% of Bitcoin, move at this current rates gives you 10.7K basically up, right? While when it was trading at $10,000, it was just barely 1%. So the higher the numbers go, the less of a percentage gain you have to make in order to make bigger money, right? So that's true. There's this asymmetry. And the higher it goes, the easier it is to make big money by holding onto it. And at the same time, I'd say that, of course, it is all subjective, because some people, for what it is to get started, some people just start with zero and they collect and farm, liquidity and go for the airdrops, and they collect a couple of grants and they kick off this way and they make it out of nothing. The other people, kick off with $100 and $1,000. The problem is that if you have the lower the quotes you have, the more difficult it is going to be to make big money, because they require that the longer the process takes, and the more tempting it is to put on the high leverage, right? To make you feel a little bit prematurely that you operate with big money, leading necessarily to failure more often than not, and to blowing up the account. So, and then of course high fees. So I'd say anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000 might be enough and sufficient to start off.
I think it always depends on really what you want to achieve. I always tell people, how much money do you need? Do you want to trade for a living? Then you need $1,000, because if you do, what's reasonable to make in a certain amount of time? Can you make 5% in a month, 10% in a month, and then go from there, set up your account? And that's exactly what you say. I think the problem with the challenge. So for me, it became much easier to be consistently profitable when I started to play with bigger money, because a 1% move could yield you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, whatever that is, because it's just much easier to trade with larger money. But if you have $1,000 and the market moves 1%, you're making $10. You're like, what have I really been waiting for? And then it urges you to put more money in, more leverage, more trades, overtrade. So yes, in my opinion, yeah, it's easier to trade with larger amount, but also it's much easier to lose it as well. So I remember my first thing, I put in $30,000 and I lost it probably, I doubled it in 2 weeks and I lost it in like 3 days, the whole thing gone. So it's also very easy to lose larger amounts. Okay. What have you learned? What are the things that you learned as a beginner that helped you become a professional and profitable trader today? What are the most important things you learned?
Yeah, so when I always get on stage and talk about, the markets and the technical analysis and the principles, is my favorite quote from Warren Buffett, where he says that the best investment you can make is investment in yourself, because the more you learn, the more you will earn. So I've come to the conclusion that the best investment you can actually make is investing in your own education, right? So be it a good course, be it a good book, or an entire course, like I said, for instance, like I did with the CMT Association of the Charter Market Technician Association. That's something that unprecedentedly basically, changed my life, right? In the way that I perceive the markets, in a way that I perceive my life, my own self as the market participant, how many mistakes I made, even though I hadn't been even aware of their existence before. And as soon as you get awareness, education, and learning, you can act upon it. So, the more you learn, basically, the better accuracy you're going to have. And the better accuracy you're going to have, ultimately, it's going to translate to bigger money as well.
So the ultimate learning is to learn.
Yeah.
Basically, let's go back and learn. If you have $100 to start and you want to turn it into $1,000, it's like a 10x. How would you do it today?
Oh man, I would keep those dollars for the fees, for the transaction fees, and I would go and participate in different community forums and engage in airdrops. That's what I would do.
So you would do airdrop. Would you consider airdrop farming trading?
Well, you trade your time for money in such a fashion, or then you put in $100, for fees, right? For instance, for the swaps and for whatever kind of like lookups transactions that you do online on the blockchain. And in that case, you spend some money, that is your cost, that is your risk, and you take something out. So it's an exchange, right? It's not trading in the cleanest form, as in you trade, currency for currency, but you trade an asset for an asset. So it's more type of a commodity exchange, right?
All right. What would you advise to someone who wants to become a full-time trader and become as successful as you are? What would be one advice you would give?
Oh shit, man. Well, persistence, discipline, I'll be boring as fuck, but I will always go for the CMT. And I mean, there are only 3,300 people in the world with that title. I'm alone as fuck, in my own country. I'm the only guy with this title. And there should be hundreds of people talking about it, because this brings better market efficiency. This brings better information, more accurate financial decisions, more wealth basically generated this way. Of course, more wealth translates directly to or indirectly to people's happiness as well, to some level, right? So I'd say that having more access to this information and following courses and paths like those CMTs, like CFAs, like Kayas, and all those stuff, I think that it's one of the ways of getting more structure and accuracy in investments.
How can someone get started with it? So if someone's watching this interview and is like, how do they get started?
Yeah. So what I did, right, and that's a simple way to get started, is to go to the website, as in cmtassociation.org, if I remember correctly. Otherwise, they can always Google, CMT Association, for instance,
CMT.
and they can, CMT Association. I think it's .org or .com, whatever. And there is this, well, of course, read up the entire website and so on. That's not too many going on. They can register for like some free webinars and put like free newsletter and a lot of things. Though ultimately, I hooked me up with a CMT curriculum level 1. That was the first kind of like a break thick, book that was like 1,000-page long, and that was a whole brand new world of technical analysis. And even though until that moment I had read about 50 different technical analysis books, this was a complete game changer to me. And I discovered science in something that was just popular jargon and terminology before. I actually discovered that there was science to it.
Do you think it's necessary, or not necessary, but I know that you've been vocal about the fact that you advise the CMT, but don't you think there is enough information? So for example, I was completely different, right? I learned everything through YouTube and one or two people who helped me put the puzzles together. So do you think it would be wise to go and do the CMT instead of trying to bootstrap the whole thing on YouTube?
Well, I'd say it's best to connect both. But if there is no way to connect both, I would always go for the CMT over YouTube, because simply the CMT gives you a reliability, right? The problem with YouTube is that you have a lot of bad actors and a lot of kind of like undisclosed shills and a lot of bad things that happen, and that ultimately mislead people. And I know it from my own experience, simply because I got wrecked and hacked and rug pulled, multiple times through other people that I considered friends back in the day. And it hurts and it stinks and it shouldn't have happened. Mostly, and like I said, while what disrupted my education process in the financial markets as well was that I couldn't find reliable information on the internet. I couldn't find, the reasoning behind some things. As in, some people just repeated, some popular jargon, like I said, without true understanding what it actually meant back in the day. And as a result, they tweaked the definition, and all of a sudden, the understanding kind of like went blank or just faded away. And because two different people, uneducated in the field, were giving a lot of space to talk about it, and at the same time, they didn't understand properly the entire regime, the terminology, like definitions and so on. And as a result, they basically provided contradictory, counterintuitive definitions for something that was not accurate.
So I know that you say that you're a professional loser. You say this a lot, and we got a question actually that was very much coming into it, which I think is great. And the question is, how can you be a profitable trader when you lose more than you win?
Yeah, that's a basic definition of trend following, right? Because if you hunt for the big wins, the big wins are gonna come infrequently, right? There is this nice book by Ned Davis, NDR, Nate Davis Research, was an incredible investment firm that uses fusion analysis, a combination of technical analysis and the fundamental analysis. And long story short is that if you play for the high stakes, right, then they're not gonna come often. And if they're not gonna come often, you just have to hunt long enough for them and not get wrecked on the process, in order to actually capture that, right? If you fish for a big fish, basically, if you're fishing for a big fish in the ocean, 1 in 100 is gonna be special, maybe, right? Or 1 in 1,000 is gonna be special. Or you're gonna have like a special gigantic type of a fish that is just outsized everything else that you ever got. And that's the point, that once in a while, by sticking long enough, you're gonna get rewarded by the market, by this entire universe, whatever you name it, by the entire situation or the context, that's going to provide you with such an opportunity, like a 1,000x or millionx, right? One of my team members, for instance, recently got massive, and he was very vocal about it. He got a massive airdrop from Hyperliquid, right? And that was close to 1 million. So you cannot anticipate stuff like that, but if you're in the game and if you keep committing, right, you expose yourself to actually those big wins. That's simple statistics. If you have, as much risk as win, of course, 50-50 is not going to get you anywhere. But 51% is already better than 49%, right? So 51 of the cases, you're going to be profitable, 49, you're going to be negative, but you're going to be slightly above the water. But if you hunt for 10x, right, you're going to ultimately one time catch it. But the problem is that you have to manage the risk and reduce the risk, control the risk, to invest only small amount of, accounts at a time, in order to get to the point that you actually catch this big win, right? So it's possible, and actually the most profitable strategies are trend following breakout strategies and systems that give you 30%, maybe 40% kind of like a profitability rate, as in win rate. So 3 out of 10 trades are won, but 7 out of 10 trades are lost. But because you keep the risk small, as in 1 or 2% max per trade, then you can afford to lose those 7 trades in order for the big hunt. And when the big hunt comes, you may have a series of 1 trade or 2 trades that are going to compensate for all the tiny losses that you made on the way and give you so much of a big profit because of the trending. And this is exactly why Bitcoin moves. It can move for 260 days flat, and then it, in 2 weeks it puts up like 10x on top of it, right?
As we've seen going from 56,000 in 3 weeks all the way to 100K. But also it's very important that people don't understand the fact that trading is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You have to understand that you can lose, and what really happens, as we see as well all around the place, is you go on, you start trading, you lose the first trade, you lose the second trade, you use the third trade, and you're like, okay, so on the fourth trade, I'm gonna use double the risk because now I have to make it back much faster. And you don't understand the fact that you can lose 7, 8 trades if your risk management says that you only have to catch one and that one will bring back. But what usually happens that the people who sell early or people who get tilted on the stop losses are the same people who sell early when they actually get the great fish and they're like, they just let it go too early. So I know we don't have a lot of time yet, but I wanted to go through some of the questions. What is the most important? One that I thought was the most important is social media and are people around you influence your trading decisions? So we see a lot of people try to listen to this influencer, that voice, this YouTube channel. What should people do?
So in my particular case, I try to limit the influence, right? I mean, it's impossible, even subconsciously, when you look at something, your brain is going to record it, so you don't have to think about it, but it's already there, right? And the main impact, for instance, if you go to the forest and you spend 5 hours in the forest, you're exposed to green color, and maybe you're going to be subconsciously more prone to taking long positions rather than short positions, right? For instance, but all in all, I think that it's ultimately coming down to profitability by the technical art is lying in the designing of the technical system. So having those regimes, disciplines, that's very universal. Having rules and discipline and the regime, that you follow, in life, it's very universal, and it helps you kind of like persist for all the chaos, for all the uncertainties, regardless, no matter what happens. That also applies to trading. So the more you limit the exposure and influence from other people online, I think the better. And the more you focus on facts, evidence, raw numbers, reliable information, ultimately it's gonna get you there for the long run and exactly the marathon to complete. Yeah.
Truly appreciate it. Where can people, we ran out of time, but where can people find you? Where can people get more info about you? We obviously have your links in the description, but what do you do? What can you help people?
I appreciate it, man. Finally enough, Bitcoin is over $108,000 right now.
Yeah. I'm actually just looking at it. We don't know when this is going to go out, actually, but I'm literally just looking at it as well. Do you see? You have your screen up?
Yeah. It's pretty wild, man. Pretty wild. So higher it is. So long story short, people can find me on Twitter, on X, under _Birb, BIRB, Barbara, Irene, Renault, and Barbara again. Be crypto_BIRB.
It's actually, you see it on the bottom of the screen.
Exactly. Or at the Birb Nest, again, same stuff. And there's, of course, a whole plenty of free educational content, infographics, newsletters. Most of the content that we do is freemium. So people can go and enjoy, it's on thebirdnest.com. So I go encourage to find everybody on that. And besides, we have a lot of kind of like premium resources as well that you can unlock for free as well. And there are multiple ways. And that's all the information on the website, thebirdnest.com again.
We'll include everything in the description. Adrian, I truly appreciate you. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Next time we bring you a longer show, maybe a fireside chat somewhere around Poland or Hungary or Dubai or wherever we might be in the world. Truly appreciate you, brother. See you in the next one.
See you.